Good morning, TFR.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Our day is beginning, there's so much to do.
It is Tuesday, my dudes.
Hi, this is Alan. I like Ironworx because it's where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
I love Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zach. It's like sitting in your front room having a cosy chat with your best friends.
Hi, it's Diva here, and I just want you to know that Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zach, it's definitely my favourite dose of reality. Come join the family and keep it flat.
Why sleep in when you could get your dose of iron in the morning? Listen to the Ironworx on TFR.
This is Enlightened Dawn. Roses are red, violets are blue. Iron Rail Media is the best on the plane. To this show, I will forever be true. You guys are truly the best, and I love you guys. I'm so thankful to have you in my life.
Do you like listening to space letters from Never a Straight Answer? Then tune in to The Ironworx with Zach, Walter, and Josh. Break clear of the fear on The Ironworx and become an Iron Scout.
I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson, bitch.
It is Tuesday, my dudes. Be sure it's Tuesday. I've got it figured out this week. Welcome to the Ironworx. My name is Josh Corey. I am joined this morning by, no fewer than two, at least two, good friends and co-hosts on the show, starting off with one, Mr. Zachary Zabala. You may know him as Good Times for All over on the YouTubes. Zach, how in the hell was your weekend, sir?
Hey, Josh. Hey, Walt. Hey, everybody out there in TFR land. It was a good weekend. Got a lot done outside in the yard. All the leaves are gone except for the ones that just fell out of the tree. Those are just going to get run over by a lawnmower. It was kind of emotional yesterday. I was burning roots, dried out roots. And the young man who comes down and talks to me and quite a bit and hangs out in the river and collects crystals. Cammy and I are, we're teaching him about stuff. He knows quite a bit for his age, but there's some wisdom about sifting through the BS. You get wisdom, after doing it for so long. So we're kind of just pointing them in the right direction of where, we're not telling them this is how it is. It's like, well, go look into this, go look into that. So we had a great conversation. He hung out for a good 45 minutes, hour yesterday.
Did you get any of it recorded?
No, this is just, he has a YouTube channel. I definitely could do like an interview with him for sure, something like that.
How old a guy is he? Just a young kid.
He just graduated high school. Yeah, about, I think last year. He was out in California. His parents sent him out there to start doing college, and he was just like, this is stupid. This is a big waste of time. They were going to, pay for the first year, and then he was going to loan and all this stuff. He's just like, yeah, I'm not doing this. But he's very, motivated. He is very motivated, but he doesn't want to work for other people, and that's hard for a young man his age to, especially now, try and start a business.
Mm-hmm.
Like a mom and pops type shop. That's not the way things are going right now.
No.
But he's hip with all the new stuff and all the new technology and blah, blah, blah. But he'll be fine. He's a smart guy.
Well, if you can figure out how to harness this current societal climate into his entrepreneurial business model, then he might actually be a successful mom and pop. You just got to change up the way things are doing.
Food is important, and everybody needs food.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Food and water.
Well, that's enough. That's enough of my rambling on. I've been rambling on for like 5 minutes now. I know there's another guy out there we haven't heard from yet.
Well, let's say hello to one Mr. Walter Johnson, also known as Flat Earth Head, here on the YouTubes. Walter, how are you doing, sir?
Looking for the mute button. Good morning, Josh. Good morning, Zach. You can ramble. I don't mind. I'm intrigued for sure. It's been an interesting little weekend. Michelle's themed event went down great on Saturday, and then the niece's tie-dye themed event went down Sunday, and it's crazy this time of the year with that many family events tied in between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and yeah, I feel like once November gets here, pretty much just running till the end of the year. So, and now we still have big Xmas ahead. But it was a fun weekend. Just tired, still recovering. And it's getting colder here. I know, while you guys are shoveling snow and freezing and all that. But for me, it's chilly and my arm hurts. I hate when it gets cold. But other than the aching arm, things are good.
You actually got some good news yesterday, didn't you?
I did indeed. Thanks to you, sir, and our good friend Adam, and our kind supporters, one of which just dropped the super chat there in chat. Thank you, Nuka Cola himself. He says, good morning, family, to everybody. Glad you're here, friend. But anyway, thanks to you guys and your kind donations, I was able to finally get a newer CPU for the computer I'm building, because the one that I had didn't work. So it was difficult because they are all on back order right now. And the whole entire world is building computers at home while they're in lockdown or whatever they're doing right now. And it's really difficult to get good CPUs. I mean, you can get average run-of-the-mill CPUs pretty much anywhere right now. It seems Intel is losing the race to AMD, but, you know, I haven't really built an alliance to one or the other yet. I'm just excited I've got something on my way I can finally build.
Well,
I woke up, that was literally the first thought I had, was like, yes, a CPU is coming. So, thank y'all.
And it was almost nothing short of miraculous to get it. Because the website you were watching had what, like, yesterday it was 20,000, today it's like 43,000 back orders?
Absolutely. They'll tell you how many are ordered and how many are coming. And like right now, they've got 18,000 coming. And over the last day or two, it's gone from 43,000 back orders. I mean, from 40,000 back orders up to like 43,000 back orders. So yeah, it's pretty crazy what's going on with computer builds right now.
That's insane.
I think a lot of it is just that, you know, I'm home, I got something to do, let me do my computer. But I know they're pushing a lot of crazy new games that require all the next level blah-bitty blurb, and I don't play games really on computers. So for me, it's all about this show, video editing, and sounding sexy. That's all I really need to do here. So what I've got coming will far exceed any needs I have for that. And, you know, who knows, I may play a game or two. Hello, Pokemon. I'm looking at you. Speaking of, Brian OG, he sent me 2 raid requests last night after I'd already gone to bed. So I was not able to make you, my friend. Shout out to Brian, my friend, and my fellow Pokemaster. Well, Poke Trainer.
Still can't get away from my, I don't know. I've been a first-person shooter since James Bond 007 GoldenEye. You know, I was rocking 64 back in the day, and I was good. You know, it would be, we only could play 4 people at a time. You know, the console had 4 controllers, and there was no internet connection to, you know, play anybody else. But it wasn't fair. So it would be those 3 people versus me when we would play, and I would still smoke them. I'd kill them each 10 times, and I might die 2 or 3 times. I don't know. Well, that really wasn't fair because I could see their screens as well. You know, we were all playing on the same TV. But they could see my screen, so it wasn't like I had any big advantage or anything. I don't know. Yeah, and I was playing last night for, I don't know, a good 20 minutes before I laid down.
I haven't played a game
I'm up to a 6.16 kill death ratio. it's not even, well, it's still fun, but
It's still fun massacring everybody.
As much as I've been a gamer my whole life, truly the only time I dove in headfirst to the whole first-person experience was Halo. Halo was one of those genre-defining games, man. It was like the first game where two people could go into the game, not online, but go into the in-game play, the storyline together, and run through it together, which also lets you cheat a little bit by each other through some of the tougher levels. But hey, sometimes you get to do that. But anyway, story, its weaponry, its fact that I was shooting real people. You know, I don't know. I just never had fun in games where I was trying to kill people. I do enjoy a good like Nazi zombie. What is it? World of whatever. I don't know the names of them because I play them so little. I know there's a Nazi zombie game out there I played. It was kind of fun. But other than Halo and its whole like otherworldly jetpacks, needle guns, just totally outrageous stuff, I just never fell down the first person rabbit hole. But when I went Halo, I went head first. It was great. I've enjoyed them over the years. There's been ones I've really, Wolfenstein. There you go, not Cat in the chat. I enjoyed the hell out of that. I've enjoyed
Doom. You play Doom?
I enjoyed Doom. Just not the whole online thing. Just never got into like the world of what is it? What is the world thing?
World of Warcraft.
Whatever that is. Call of Duty. That's it.
Call of Duty. Okay.
All that stuff that all my friends were all like, yeah, you got to get a computer so you can. And again, computer gaming is not me. I don't know how to talk about computers because we're talking computers. But yeah, I'm never.
You guys should try Insurgency Sandstorm. That's a fun game.
I've heard it is. There's Jonathan from Jersey. I was just getting ready to get to you, sir. Good morning. How was your weekend?
Oh, it was eventful. It was eventful.
What? Really? I'd never thought it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Video games is a good topic, though. We should stay on video games. I mean, you know, how do you? I wouldn't even be able to quantify what kind of weekend I had. I mean, where do I start? When I got a package in the mail and said, "Oh, this must be addressed to the wrong person." Open it up. Heel cream. What the hell is heel cream? It says for exfoliating your heels. Oh, it must be for one of the ladies in the house.
No.
And then I see an insert in the package that says "enjoy." You know, it's like, hey, buddy, enjoy, right? And I'm like, well, I could be a buddy. And I open it up, and it's 10 grams of DMT. Thank you. So I'm like, you know, what do I do with this?
You'd have had better luck with the foot cream.
You know? But, yeah, it was a crazy weekend. But then yesterday, I'll tell you what, man, all came to an interesting twist in the plot of Jonathan, right? Anybody know what ankylosing spondylitis is?
I do not.
Well, I have it. I induced it, and it's interesting because my mom had it. It's actually a fusing of the spine. It's like, you know who had it? What's his name? Mick Mars, the guy from, was that Motley Crue?
Oh.
I was thinking that. I truly was. I was a big Motley Crue fan back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, they actually mentioned it in the movie Dirt. So what happens is like, it's a degenerative disease caused by arthritis, advanced arthritis and inflammation, because, you know, it is. And what happens is the spine starts to fuse. And even, you know, the bones, I mean, you can get what's called a flat back condition. You can't even lay on your back. So when I had done all the weight gain in this experiment that I did on myself, which was, now I'm realizing, wow, that's dangerous, and induce certain changes. But I think it was also metabolic, because I was eating a certain diet and trying to induce certain things. And now, as a shaman, I'm on my way to reverse it. And I don't know if that's going to be through Kambo, through, you know, certain plant medicines, because it seems to be like all over the place down here. But I just found this out yesterday, and I'm like, really, this is going to sound crazy. The worst things that have happened to me in the past, whatever, couple months, have been the best things, or the best, you know, in the past year has been the best things, because you know how we're always looking for like the easiest path? We're looking for the path of least resistance, right? We always want like the good things in life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when you spoil a child, where's the lesson in it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then later on,
Absolutely.
and then later on, that kid goes on and thinks, well, mom and dad always gave me money when I asked for it, or mom and dad always gave me a cupcake. You know what I'm saying? And then later on in life, you're like, oh shit, I'm sitting here crying like a bitch or a baby, you know, and nothing's being done. People are just
And
looking
that's
at.
one thing I never understood. People, I mean,
What's that?
they purposefully spoil their child.
Purposefully.
Yeah, and it's like, do you know what spoil means? To turn rotten?
Well, that's a good perspective. Like you're spoiling the soul.
Yeah.
That's a great
Exactly
dude.
what
That's a
you're
great
doing.
catch. I never. Oh, good for dude, man. You gave me something to contemplate today. I'm gonna sit with that. I might even put that on my Facebook wall and steal it and make believe I came up with that wisdom. No, I'll just put a Z. I'll just put a
Z squared.
I'll put Zach. God damn it.
Yeah, Z squared. You can
Z squared. I like that
a little bit. Yeah.
Right on. It's you and your higher self speaking. Z squared. No, that's a really great perspective. But no, here's what happened. So I want to go back to video games, man. I'm on the fence here. Do I share something that might enrich people's lives, or do I go back to video games? Let's go back to video games. Fuck everybody.
Fuck enrichment.
I just wanted to share this real quick. So, you know, like I said, I was trying to do certain changes in my own body because remember I was saying about that project I was going to do, like the 7-Eleven diet. Did I already mention that on air once before?
I'm pretty sure several months ago.
You told us about it, sure.
Yeah, and basically, if you haven't heard this before, anybody out there, the 7-Eleven diet came about because when I came out of being a recluse, when I came out of hiding, I figured, okay, I want to get back in the world, but I don't really want to connect with anybody yet. So what can I do, right? And I put it out to the universe, and this job comes up, and it says, be a secret shopper. And I'm like, oh, like those, you know, people that do that locally. And it says, no, on a national level. They were sending me all over the country. And with the client was like 7-Eleven, which is like 8,000 of them, right? And then they were adding 4,000. So I had to wear the hidden camera and all that stuff. So I thought to myself, this is interesting because I was just starting to do information where I was putting together in a book on for people that are socioeconomically depressed, which is more than half the country, of how to get healthy nutrition into your diet, right? Not everybody can afford to go to Whole Foods and drink $10 green drinks and things like that. So this is a great opportunity. So when I was going to the 7-Elevens, they were offering like healthy offerings, right? But at the same time, a lot of their stuff, about 95% of the stuff, is really just as bad as a liquor store, right, that you see in ghettos, right, which is like one on every other corner. It only further lends to keeping that area bereft, right? It kind of keeps it down in many ways. Any kind of vice does, right? But the problem is with 7-Eleven, now you had, you know, additionally sugar, salt, MSG and stuff, and all these products. What are you clapping about, Walt? I see you over there clapping.
I was laughing at your ass. That's great. You're right. That's what you get at 7-Eleven, sugar and salt and
Right.
a lot of oils.
Right, right, and all these processed foods, which of course lend to things like ankylosing spondylitis, right? It adds to a lot of things. What it basically causes, all these things that we eat, this crap food, processed food, it causes inflammation. And there's only two things that really break down the human body the quickest in society. And, you know, and for the most part, it's inflammation, right? Which could run the gamut of a multitude of things, including like going from lupus to fibromyalgia and all the stuff that a lot of people have, and they don't realize it, right? They just don't realize that it's a progressive disease in different chronic stages. Gout, you know, kidney stones, like there's all forms of inflammation. And then the other one is fungus a lot of times. And I don't mean like there's good fungus, you know, and stuff that we get from like mushrooms and stuff that help advance the body. But there's like even like fungus in coffee. A lot of the crap that people drink when they drink regular brands of coffee, or the can that's sitting there up on the shelf like forever, you know, first in the store, who knows, on a pallet for how long. My friend actually is in the coffee business, and I got to tell you, it was such an eye opener because he goes and makes the purchases. He actually goes to Wall Street and they bring samples from all over the world, and they have these people that actually examine these beans. I mean, it's like a, you know, like on the trading floor, how they trade cocoa and stuff like coffee's really a commodity. Like I didn't realize how big this friggin' thing was. Forget chocolate. Chocolate's a whole nother thing with like the free trade and like it's basically a big slave trade, chocolate, for a long time on the Ivory Coast. The point I'm getting at is coffee beans have a lot of fungus. There was a doctor who actually did research on it, and a lot of that fungus is like not healthy for us, right? It causes, again, inflammation and other problems in our body. So we're eating like a combination of like rancid foods, and then on top of that, the stuff that they chemically put in our foods from MSG, which is an excitotoxin. Everybody knows monosodium glutamate. And then the many names that falls under, like hydrolyzed corn, all different things. When you really look it up, I think there's a woman named, not Betty Martini. Betty Martini did the research on aspartame. I think she's associated with it. And there used to be a great website for that called noway.org or something like that. But if you look up aspartame, look up Betty Martini, but you'll also see people have done the research on aspartame and MSG, and it's all the same. It's all to keep our body in a weakened state. And then you have these.
I hate aspartame so bad. I was telling
you know who created
my
it.
sister.
Who, I mean, not created it, but who pushed it? Who foisted it on the American public? Do you remember? Do you know? He used to work for Cearly, Searle.
I'm not sure exactly who it was.
Ready for this? You ready for this?
I know this. I mean,
you know it.
It's in the back of my brain. It's on the tip of my tongue. Go ahead.
Josh, right? His name is Josh Corey. No, his name is Donald Rumsfeld.
Yeah.
Donald Rumsfeld, when he worked at Cearly, pushed, and now what happened was aspartame was originally an anti-seizure medication that was being tested. And what happened is when they tasted it, they said, wow, this is really is like super sweet. And they said, maybe we could do something with it, because it was failing for the other, purpose. And so they put it through trials and all this. It failed, I think, like 15 FDA trials. It wasn't, healthy. But yet he pushed and pushed and pushed with the lobbyists to get it out there. And then you had NutraSweet. And then, of course, all the problems that it creates. Supposedly, some people have said Michael J. Fox developed his symptoms because of symptoms he has with the Parkinson's or whatever, and the shakes and all that are indicative.
Yeah, that's that Pepsi Free he was drinking while he was making all those movies.
Yeah, are indicative of this disease. Supposedly, when you drink aspartame, it creates like either formic acid or like a formaldehyde in the brain. Changes, has all these symptoms, and people that have actually been removed from aspartame would see symptoms disappear, like actually reverse if it was in the earlier stages. But people that are drinking like 2 liters of, diet, whatever with this shit, and it's in everything. If you go in the line at the supermarket, you look at like 90% of the gums that are out there, from Wrigley's to Juicy Fruit or whatever, you'll see aspartame.
That's why I quit chewing gum. There's only like 2 of them. There's 2 flavors of Hubba Bubba that don't have it, and then those little nasty chiclet black licorice flavor.
Well, that's the thing.
There's a couple of more out there, because Michelle went through that for a long time when she was trying to quit smoking and trying to find gum that didn't have death in it. And there's a few out there. You just got to really dig, and they're usually a little higher end, more expensive, and it's ridiculous you have to pay to get healthy gum these days.
Yep,
it really is.
So getting back to what I found out the other day, like I said, I went to the chiropractor. I knew I had problems, because if you know your body, if you're in touch with it, you know what's going on physiologically, and I knew this was happening, but at the same time I had an agenda, and part of it was identifying with what my mother suffered with for years. It's certain closure I had to have in myself. And I know it sounds crazy, but there's a deeper part of the story, and I won't get into it here because, I'm putting it in a book, and then if you give a shit, you can get a copy of a PDF that's stolen and put out there, because that's what always happens with books.
I was going to say, so that PDF hits.
You can find. No, but the truth about it is on my path, because I'm on a shamanic path. I'm not looking to heal people for money. I'm not looking to do anything for money, right? I figure the universe is going to provide my needs, and it does. But what I do want to
people if you do it that way.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you know it, brother. You know it.
Yeah. And the thing is to be there,
Yeah. And here's the thing.
Fool a bunch of people and get them to buy your book for a little while, or you can actually, heal people and
Well, the thing is, if it's worth anything, I would love if I had information that was, let's say, revolutionary, right, to change the human condition. Let's say I knew how to levitate objects. I mean, there'd be people that would try to sidle up to me and say, oh, I could be your marketing agent. We can really capitalize on this. I'll make you like Tony Robbins. We can charge $5,000 a person or more. You have an exclusive weekend getaway at one of these shishi places with raw vegan this, and everything is amazing. That kind of bullshit crowd. And I could charge $1 million a person for the first exclusive 10, right? We could call it the. But that's not the route I'm going. I'm not looking to create Jedi here, right? It's something like, okay, I have this thing. I tripped upon it. I know the 100th monkey theory. I'm just going to find a bunch of, people, maybe at a big concert, the right kind of people that are already in the elevated mindset, the people that are into like Alex Gray and shit like that. Who the hell knows? And just like, put it out there. And then the whole human condition just starts to unroll, right? Unravel. The government would be like, what's going on? All these mutants are appearing everywhere. Now, the point is like, if you have anything good, though, you want to get it out there. So if you did get it on like a platform like, Oprah Winfrey or equivalent, right? That's kind of going by the wayside. It's amazing, like what it could do for people, right? You'd want to get that information out there. The point I'm trying to make is, so in doing the shamanic studies, some of the things I've done to myself, because I've been the best test subject, right? I could be objective about the experience and look at it from a spiritual standpoint. Whereas when you're examining people, right, in data, when they do like these trial studies and all this other shit, I said this to a doctor, and I got to tell you, and he confirmed my findings. If you go to the hospital, right now,
I believe, Jonathan, if I'm not mistaken, I hear some break music, sir.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to pontificate.
Nope, you do it. We're going to take a break, and we'll get back to that. We'll find out more about what could be making you sick right now, and you not even know it. Come back. Ironworx. Break clip here.
Discover the extraordinary.
Works. Second segment kicking off right now. Josh, Walt, and Zach hanging out with Jonathan from Jersey. And just to clarify, it is Tuesday.
Let me just close with this last thing, and then I'd love to hear your feedback. What I was saying to a friend of mine, I asked him, I said, look, if you were to do blood work on somebody for 30 days consecutively, morning and night, what kind of results do you think you would get? And he goes, that's interesting. He goes, never really thought about it. He said, but it would run the gamut. It would really be so diverse. And our bodies are always going through metabolic changes, through different stresses, affected by foods we eat, possibly an underlying cold. You know what I'm saying? There's so many stages you can catch the body in at any given moment, so that when people get a surprise diagnosis like I did, it wasn't no surprise. I already knew it. I knew I had this.
Frequency of the luminaries above, Mercury affects Mercury passing over. What if, these things are affecting you going to the doctor when one of these things is right above your head and it's making your body go haywire for just that, day?
It could very well. I mean, it sounds a little corny to some people, but we don't know the external forces that are pushing upon us in any given moment. And
no, I mean, Mercury spins in an opposite direction as Mercury is passing over it. That's insane. That's just,
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely affecting us.
But I was thinking like this, like, for instance, like, say you went to the bakery, right, and you had a ton of pastries. And then you go to the hospital and they do your blood work and they're like, oh, your blood sugar's high. Like, and it's like, well, no, I'm not really pre-diabetic. It's like I just ate a crap ton of pastries and then I came into the hospital. I figured I'm going to be here. I'm going to be stuck here for 2 days. I might as well eat a shit ton of pastries.
That happened to me. No, that happened to me
and then
personally.
on top of it, they give you fruit juice. They're always bringing you those trays and they're like, oh, you want something to drink? I'm thirsty. And they bring you what? Fruit juice. So now you have all this sugar in your system. And why do you think they do that a lot of times? I mean, they say, oh, it's to keep your energy up and glucose. That's bullshit. When you drink, when you have sugar in your system, and I think it's interesting, they put sugar in kids, medicine and everything like that, like cough medicine, all that. There's always
formula.
sugar.
Infant formula.
What's that?
Infant formula.
Well, check it out. Here's what it does. It suppresses your white blood cells for 4 to 6 hours. They literally turn off and go to sleep. This is a fact. If you look it up.
That's nuts. That's crazy.
So think about every time you're sick and you eat something, right? You're on the couch and you eat now, whatever the frig you're eating and it's got sugar in it and you're trying to get over a cold or some illness. And now your white blood cells just go, go to sleep. So there's so many ways that they're suppressing our mechanisms for fighting disease, for combating disease, and then the conditions that are helping to induce it and keep us in a weakened state. I mean, the body's resilient beyond all measure, right? Like, just look at what's his name? This is a testament to it. The guy from the Rolling Stones, the big druggy dude.
Keith Richards.
Keith Richards, right? Now, you can't use...
I should have been dead in the 70s.
Should have been, okay. But now here's the thing, genetically, and this is another thing too. Like, I have certain genetic markers. I got to tell you, it matches up with my mother's side. So this isn't even my condition today, like being diagnosed the other day. It doesn't surprise me, okay? I had it confirmed yesterday, and it was by a chiropractor through X-ray. But I already knew what was going on in my body over a year and a half ago. And like I said, and how I induced it, and this is what I'm going to write about. And because I'm looking now to reverse the process. I got the result I wanted, so I can now do the reverse. But what I'm saying is somebody like Keith Richards or something, you don't know a person's physiological makeup, right? Because one size does not fit all, obviously, for the human body, for different people. There are genetic markers and things that we have from a hereditary standpoint. There are, when you make deals with the devil, you get certain supernatural powers, including, being a rock and roll legend. What I'm saying is we don't know why certain people, like, look, what if, like, the guy had a peanut allergy? He can do all the drugs in the world and keep going, and then one peanut could take him out. You see what I'm saying? Like, we don't know what that thing is. Look at Superman. The guy could friggin' move worlds and get the shit kicked out of him by the baddest of the baddies, and he comes back strong every single time. And then one little piece of kryptonite, and boom, he's weak. So all of us have these triggers. All of us have these things. But what these, unfortunately, I hate to sound conspiratorial, but I guess why not on this show, right? The government or certain institutions above them that are running this whole planet from the top down are deliberately keeping us locked up, right? Deliberately keeping our pineal gland calcified, deliberately keeping us from breathing, all the things that would open us up in full to correct this planet and the state it's in right now. And this is part of the awakening that many are having, using their weapons against them, like the internet. And Hey, they should have killed me when they had the chance.
Just think of all the plant life that is not getting the CO2 that they were getting because humans are now just sucking it right back into their bodies.
Well, I mean, inversely, there was a guy. Excuse me 1 second. I haven't had coffee yet. Oh, here's my coffee. There was a guy, I think, from Japan who did a study, and he took plants and he planted it out in the country versus the city. And he was really surprised that the city, the CO2 emissions that we create, were actually creating, those trees are growing twice as big and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's what they live off. I mean,
right. But inversely,
the whole idea, let's get rid of CO2 by killing people. No, go plant a fucking tree, moron.
Yeah, but inversely, what did they do? They got rid of so much of the Amazon rainforest.
Yeah,
the amount of acreage.
Cut down acres and hundreds of thousands of acres.
That's got nothing to do with it. It's cow farts.
To put in highways that go to nowhere.
But when you hear the numbers of how much rainforest is cut down per day, you're thinking that's impossible because there can't possibly be that much acreage to be able to.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about an area that's so immense, and let's not even talk about parts of Russia, Siberia. I mean, it just goes. The planet is so effing huge.
So huge.
And I say planet is so
crowded, and that is such. When I crossed the country a few times in the last few years, driving, I saw a lot more people.
Right.
And I saw, cities and towns, and I mean, especially you get west of the Mississippi. It's like the Badlands out there everywhere.
Right.
You hit pockets, you'll have your big city, and then for a little while you have the suburbs. But once it gets rural, it usually gets rural for a while.
Well, let me ask you this, Zach.
Notice that on flyovers as well. Definitely the flyovers between here and Oregon. I was always astounded at the immense, vast emptiness of it all.
Let me ask you guys this, though. So when you're looking at this, and there's no humans per se, right? How much life is still teeming in all those areas in terms of, let's say you could snap your fingers, right? You can do anything. And you do away with let's say 3 miles worth of soil, right? In an area, let's say 50 miles by 50 miles square in these desolate areas. And then say, I just want all the living life to remain suspended in midair. How much life do you think you'd see from fleas to ants to snakes to rabbits to, you know what I'm saying? There's so much
animal kingdom, just the animal kingdom.
Yeah, there's so much life teeming on this planet. Worms.
It would be it would be just like looking at the desert almost. The whole ground would pretty much be covered.
But it would be nuts, right, to see that suspension, and then for instance, I don't know where the hell deer sleep when it's daytime. I just know that they're out there. I've never seen them during the day sleeping in a bed boo, wake up, wake up, wake up. I play that music that Josh plays. But you know what I'm saying? I don't know where half these freaking creatures are. Supposedly they exist, owls and shit. I hear them, but I don't see them. So who the hell knows what's out there, right? Where do alligators sleep? I don't know. They sleep under the water. I don't know. I just know that every time I see one, it's always on camera, and it's usually because a human woke their ass up somehow. You know what I'm saying? But all that life is out there. It's teeming out there. And like you're saying, sustainability, this planet, and I love the word planet over globe. I hate when people say the world and globe and shit. Planet, because it is a plane, right? And it's T on the end, like T square. But that's an easy way to remember it. But it's how big is this place? And then the other part of it is because they've confined us to a certain dimensionality. It really is, depending on the perspective. What if this thing is more in the video game model, it goes beyond and beyond, right? It goes to the proverbial edge of where the creators of the video game made it, right? There's a certain boundary. But as far as the computer's concerned, as long as it's in that calculation, if you do an open world, it could keep, creating a world forever based on those calculations.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't create itself until you come there and see it.
That's exactly what I've suggested too. Procedurally generated world. Yeah.
Procedurally generated, right? Yeah. So even the expansion rate, when we think, there's a limitation, the Earth can only sustain so much. Okay. What if even the firmament, let's picture the flat Earth with a firmament, right? So it definitely has defined edge and boundary. But let's say the expansiveness of the population is such that firmament can grow too, because again, the firmament seems like solid boundary if you want to go from an engineering perspective, and that's the problem. Mankind is always trying to figure out the metaphysical meets organic world with a structured mind, right? With our limited mind and semantics and science, where we want to put a calculation to it and say this is the way it is. But then we see these scientists that get confounded when they come up against quantum or some other thing and say, well, this is impossible.
Well,
It's
the
not
Rice
impossible.
experiment. The Rice experiment alone.
Rife, like Royal Raymond Rife?
No, Rice.
Rice.
R-I-C.
Rice, yes.
Where Zach's middle name came from.
Yeah, it's the intent. It's where the intent is. I mean, I don't think so much that we can change things on certain aspects, like the Earth being a round ball floating in space. I believe that most people, at least at one time, probably still, believe that they were on a floating spinning ball. But it didn't make it so. It's not like all that intention and all that belief. I think the intent has to be pure, and it has to come from knowledge, from knowing these things. Not just from believing them, but you have to know it to be true.
But I think it also has to be true. Knowing it to be true doesn't necessarily make it true.
Well, yeah, that's
either.
what I'm saying. It has to be actual truth.
Yep. And I think that's where a lot of religions come from, is they hijack it, just a little bit of that truth, and insert it into the ideology to harness that power and attract people and control them. Yeah.
Yeah, well, like I said, there's a lot we don't know. I'm doing my own research in my own way. Everybody, there's a lot more people like us that are doing things. Like for all we know, because your limited reach to the audiences that you have right now, and you have your proverbial choir and fans that are going to tune in and stuff like that. But you don't have the reach, of course, that some other shows have, and that's not the point. But I'm saying there could be people, and there could be 4 guys right now in Russia that are doing a similar broadcast, and they're doing their own thing, and it's their cool limited hangout and crowd. You see what I'm saying? Like, we don't know what's out there. We don't know what people are doing. And for instance, I have a friend who does a YouTube and Facebook broadcast, but then Facebook knocked him down. So now it's on Instagram, and every morning he does this like radio show out of his house, but it's music, and it's called Insomnia Radio. And I got to tell you, if you were to turn this guy on, turn on like Telemundo or something and see this guy broadcasting, you would laugh your ass off because he's zany, but he's very cool. He's very machismo. He reminds you of that dude from the Dos Equis commercial.
Uh-huh.
And he has this deep voice, and all he needs is a bullhorn. He's like, he speaks in Spanish, and then come on, he goes, hello, Jonathan. Then he goes back into Spanish, and he's playing like the most eclectic, like crazy music, but I'm thinking to myself, wow, he has, you'll see it, when it says live and it shows you how many people are watching. So there's like 8 of you, but this guy's putting on a full broadcast, and the only difference between him and us and anybody else is like the venue who's promoting it, right? Because this could be a sensation. It's so crazy. So I'm saying there's other people that are working out there concurrently. There's other things that are going on concurrently. Like right now, somewhere in the middle of the rainforest, there's 2 little gray aliens with big black eyes that are sticking an anal probe up I don't know what animal creatures they have in the rainforest, right? But they're cataloging, they're doing their work basically, right? Just like there's some guy on an Air Force base, the most top secret, coolest Air Force base that any of us would love to work out and have our cell phones out and be like, hey man, look, more technology. And some dude is just simply pushing a broom. He's just like picking up trash. And that's cool too, because it's a necessary thing, right? We need all this to sustain. What I'm getting at is, when we're involved in our experience and it seems so incredible, like when I come on and say, oh guys, I had more events happen. Yeah, it happened to Jonathan from Jersey. It happened to me, but it doesn't mean it translates. It doesn't mean, right? So there's going to be people like my father, others. We could come up with the most awesome proof positive to literally floor the entire world, let's say, with the flat earth, right? Say the 4 of us, just say somebody handed us the information, right? We all got a letter and said, look, we want you to read this. We want you to talk about this before you go on air, and then we want you to go on air and present it, and we're going to support it, right? Let's say this is from the Illuminati. The Illuminati.
We'll take you to the edge.
We'll take it to, I don't know the commercial, but it's funny. But the thing is, let's say we go on and do that as a collective. We say, I say, hey, Josh, Walt, and Zach, what do you think, man? Is this it? Are you guys ready to take on the responsibility for what this does to the human design? And you guys are like, of course, this is what we've been searching. I know Walt would be, because Walt's a pain in the ass that way. He's like, throw caution to the wind. Let's just do it. Zach is more sensible. Like, listen, guys, I think we should. I think Zach has a better approach. Josh is like, "Who gives a shit, man? Let me just light up this blunt here, and we'll just wing it.
We'll figure it
Is
out,
that
right?
Basically, all your personality types." And Jonathan from Jersey is like, "Fuck it, I'll just talk about, stupid shit that has nothing to do with the flat Earth." Point is,
probed out the rainforest.
I got some heel cream.
Though, say we put out the definitive proof, right? And I mean definitive, like you can't argue it, right? No way, shape, or form. It's like literally backed with evidence. And I'm talking about how like right now there's doctors that are coming out speaking against COVID and what a scam it is, right? It's a joint military social exercise.
Yeah.
And they're showing the proof, but there's people
The
that
heads,
still
guys that were like the heads of some of these places.
heads of hospitals, right? Heads of board of execs, so even pharmaceutical companies, like they're saying it's bullshit. And yet there's sheeple that will not believe because their fear or whatever it is won't allow them to think, or it won't even allow them to see in that capacity, right? So I'm saying we could prove.
No, they're not seeing it on their little box, their little thing hanging on the wall. With
Well,
the
not
nice
just
people all
not
dressed
just
up all happy.
Yeah, but not just the box, not just the TV. It's more than that. I'm saying there's a disconnect within them internally, right? They haven't made the process. They can't even integrate it into their mind. Okay,
Yeah.
like 2 + 2 will always equal 4 in
I've
their
been
world.
fighting this for over a decade with my whole family.
Right. And what I'm saying is like whether we speak about bullshit, like I come on here and just waste a little time and have fun, okay, or we have the actual proof. What I'm saying is like the human consciousness in mass and group. It really is something that needs to happen in mass. So that's what I'm saying. If I go and show people how to levitate, let's say, which is, again, that's on my agenda. That's about 6.5 years out. I'm just letting you guys know, preview. Jonathan from Jersey is not going to be Baby Yoda. He's not going to be Fat Yoda. He's just going to give you guys the magic formula, and then you'll be able to levitate and blah, 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 blah. That's a fact.
Big, long beard, long hair, and just Jonathan levitating with a staff in his hand, just sitting there.
Oh, you never thought of doing it that way. That would be pretty cool. I'll do it like Gandalf. There you go. I'll be Jonathan the Gray because I am.
Jonathan the Gray.
I'm going prematurely gray. But no, here's the thing. Even if you could do that, right, there would still be people like my father, still people of the hard, old mindset. They just will look at it as if it's a cult or a fad or something that the kids are doing nowadays. Oh, yeah, my grandson's got that gift. That guy Jonathan was showing all these kids, and he's levitating quarters in his hand. It's not much, but he can remember the movie Looper?
Isn't that what they did to Jesus when he went back home to Nazareth?
What he said, watch this. Is this the best wine you ever had or what? Let's go fucking hit that well over there.
Well, when he first came back, they were just like, "Well, that's just Jesus. That's not."
You know about
the
the
Lord
missing.
Savior.
You know about the missing parts of the Bible, right? Like the parts that were omitted.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever see the Yeah, did you ever see the scrolls they found when he came back? He got all the goats all loopy. They were drinking from a trough, and he touched and the goats just got drunk on wine. You didn't read about that?
I missed that one.
Oh my God, it was hilarious, man. People thought they were tripping. Like the goats actually started talking and shit. Like they were like, Jesus, thank you for the wine. And everybody thought they were demons. Oh wait, that's the pigs. Forget it. Go ahead. What were you saying, Zach? But no, I mean, that's another fantastic story, right? When he saw the demons and they're like, they're in the man, right? And he's like, like, please don't chase us out, right? And he put them in the swine. They went over the cliff. Like I'm saying, there's some crazy ass stories in that book, right? And then all of a sudden, people believe it. Like, how many billions of people believe in Jesus Christ? It's like, wait a minute, you just told me this crazy story about a dude who put like spirits in pigs and turned water to wine, and I'm crazy because I dare to look for science of the flat Earth. Like, I love Jesus, but Jesus Christ, man, he doesn't believe anything.
I think it truly involves a serious shock to the system. And if you don't have something like that to literally wake you out of your trance.
What, you mean like ayahuasca or DMT or some other?
The DMT, the ayahuasca, the car wreck, the emergency surgery, the sky falling because there's freaking stars coming down, the feeling of utter fulfillment that music can bring. I mean, it depends on your frequency and what hits you at the right way so that you suddenly become fully present in the presence, not thinking of what's coming up tomorrow, your job, what happened last month with your girlfriend, all the things that distract you from the now.
All right, bro, let me ask you something. You bring up a good point. Let me ask you this. You ready? Inversely, okay? If you're always in that ecstatic state, because what you're talking about is a state of ecstasy and an epiphanies, right? You're talking about epiphanies to awaken your mind.
Wake your ass up. Right.
Okay. But you know what happens when you're in that state? Like let's say you do an ayahuasca experiment, and I don't mean like a weekend thing. I'm talking about actually taking the time, preparing the body, going on a fast, abstaining from sex, like really going into this thing holy with actually holy. Wow, there you go.
Right.
Holy,
And to attempt to make that change for yourself.
Right, with a true shaman and not doing it to be a sip and puke type of crowd. You're doing it for a true reverence of the ayahuasca plant. Now you have this epiphany and this ecstatic state. And of course, not only the weekend is taken up or however many times, but then the week after to process it, it could be mind altering. Now, say you were constantly in that state of downloads, you'd be useless to the physical world. You'd be useless to your wife. You'd be useless to your friends. You'd be, there are people like that. They just keep having epiphany after epiphany. Their life changes so transformatively. They walk off their job from being a CEO of a company that was now paying for their family's bills that they, what I'm saying? Like a whole lifestyle change. So inversely, like being in that state of awareness at that level would just like stop everything. Like, what I mean? And that's not going to happen either. We already know that. Life goes on in different forms. And I guess what I'm getting at is, again, Flat Earth is a great example of this, okay? The truth is going to come out, right? The truth is going to be presented. But the majority of people are still going to live in the confines of a globe Earth within the reality that will seemingly unchange, right? Just like when people say there's a what do you call it, the age of Aquarius, like we're going through now, or some people say like the Kali Yuga, there's this raising of consciousness. There's some of us that will come upon this, like all of us here, we're very aware and awake, right?
Just think, some of these people have been doubting this and watching it grow now for
at the same time.
years. Yeah.
At the same time. Right?
So they have to keep doubling down, saying no this whole time, while more and more people around them are like.
But let me ask you this. Wait, Zach, but check it out. Even though they're at that place and you have to accept it, right? That's their path. Like my father, he lived a full life and he was a good man in many ways, in many conventions, but he's stuck in that way. But what happens? Just like this ankylosing spondylitis that I have now, right? That I'm dealing with. It was because of a lack of movement on my part, physically and everything else, because of things I was doing to induce it. The rigidity that sets into people's minds is also indicative of what's going on the somatic level, right? The somatic level or on the physical layer is only the final representation of what's going on internally or even from the universe. So it's like, say you're doing something, you're not listening to the universe, and eventually they make you slip on the pavement and break your wrist so that you have to deal with it, right? Or you have that car crash. I'm saying there's a lot of external events where the universe and even your internal process is trying to say, look at me, deal with this. The same way a splinter might get infected, right? And ooze, try to get out. You know what I'm saying?
I'm reminded of these things like all the time. Sorry, I'm making coffee here.
That's okay.
Is that what that
Water
is?
from Berkey. Yeah. I don't have
what I'm saying, all I'm getting at is that without taking the shamanic journey, without going in the internal processing, quieting the monkey mind, as they call it, we unfortunately keep falling back to the same patterns, and those patterns are what we're taught. Those patterns are the same things that are reinforced in the mainstream media and the narrative, and we know this. And so that's why guys like us are doing this kind of research in different capacities and trying to bring it to the forefront of people's minds so they can then pick up their own end of this and then contribute back to the pool of raising consciousness, I believe. So whoever's listening out there, share with us what you got.
The idea of us coming back again, us reincarnating, however you want to determine it, whether you think that's a thing, whether you think this is a soul prison that you have to come back to, whatever your take on it is. But if there is choice involved in your coming back here at all, if there is choice in you choosing a family, choosing a life path, choosing a set of circumstances that will lead you to epiphany, enlightenment, empowerment, whatever you want to call it. What if that is, I mean, we've kind of touched on it with like, people that are sick or people
Walk-ins?
that,
oh, okay.
Well, not walking. Well, that's part of it. What if your path here is to be the victim, the person who's so asleep that everybody feels like they got to wake your ass up? But in truth, when you were here the last time, you were the ascended master that showed them all the shit. And now you're going to take the chill, I'm going to watch TV and do the sports and drink my beer and rant on sports, the news and all that. What if that is part of their path too? They've gotten to the end game, and now they want to come back and help by being the pieces, the player in pieces. Or I'm probably garbling this all up, but
we got about 30 seconds. We should have break music actually playing behind us right now. Yeah,
you bring up a good point, though. Wait, you bring up a really good point. So let's say we're all like doing the same play, right? We're doing it for years. We're with a performing artist group, right? We go on the road. Like, do you want to keep playing the role of Romeo? Do you still want to keep playing the role of whatever? Exactly. Like, what if it's my turn? And, you know, just like an opera, right? There's different singers that step up.
That's right. It is Chris Gio's turn to pay some bills, and we'll be right back after these quick messages.
I'm 10 years old. I'm one of the millions of children born to parents suffering from the sheeple virus. Symptoms include the inability to think for oneself, the attention span of a goldfish, and a strong belief in government and the mainstream media. It is estimated that 1 out of every 2 children are being raised by parents infected with the sheeple virus. But there is a cure. For as little as 19 cents per day, you can become a TFR.
Dark matter?
Okay, we don't know.
That's great. That's why it's called dark.
It's exactly.
Everyone knows all reputable information comes from random people on the internet. Tell me things, internet. The earth is flat. It's like school. You can.
Okay, dark matter is something we do not know what it is. We believe the dark matter is there, but we have never detected it. Well, what I'm afraid of course, is that there is is no dark matter out there.
There was one?
There is no dark matter out there. We need to think really hard, to think really hard, to think really hard, to think really hard.
The iron you need to get what you want.
Hour number 1 in the books, and welcome back to the Ironworks right here on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com, TruthFrequencyRadio.com. Josh Walton, Zach, hanging out with Jonathan from Jersey. You can find him over at Perceptions Radio on YouTube. Do you do anything with that channel anymore, Jonathan?
Not currently. I'm actually, the place I'm living, we're going to do Temple TV. It's called the Temple in the Sun here, this healing center. But I am going to be launching. I got everything set up here, and I'm looking at 2021 to start broadcasting again. I have people lined up for interviews and such, so it's going to be good. Oh, speaking of, John O'Hea definitely confirmed, the guy who used to work at Cosm. He's going to come on our show. He's just been very, very busy. He apologizes. But he wants to do a 3-hour chat session with us so we can, do like a pre-record.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah, and then maybe you guys can put it on, like, around the holidays when we're all busy. We can, put that out there. But
I realized yesterday that Christmas is right there, Friday, Thursday night morning. So it's like, well, I guess we'll be here, but it'll be interesting.
Yeah, and I'm going to let you guys talk because I already know his backstory. But, man, you're going to be fascinated. The shit we talk about, I swear, the people that he mentioned that he name drops are like the biggest of the big. It's like just bombs, like boom, boom. It's like, wow. And that's because he's around Alex Gray with all that, the kind of people that roll through there. So it's just been a fun learning experience for me.
I was flipping through my net of being booked like 2 or 3 days ago. So yeah, I'm definitely on that wavelength. Before we get too far and lose the thread, I want to remind you guys, definitely go check out last Friday's show. I wasn't there, but it was good. I checked out some while I was running around doing all the crazy weekends. I did. What? I'm sorry.
Plants blew my mind, Walt. Did you see any of the pictures?
I saw. That's when I tuned in, was the pic. So yeah, if you guys haven't seen this, go check it out. It's on my next to watch list for sure to finish it.
I'm not even going to do the experiment, the test, whatever. I'm not doing half magnetic water in this side.
Nope, me either.
You're just going to go pull in?
Yep.
All yeah.
Fill me in. What are you guys talking about?
Just magnetically altering your water with creating a vortex using magnets before you put it on your plants.
So these
tomato plants were like double the size of the ones that he used.
What?
Double.
Yeah, I'll shoot you the link in pictures.
Stalks.
So what is he doing? He's like, is he doing like clustered water? Is he changing?
He is. He's vortexing it and then passing it through magnets. And it magnetizes the water.
Vortexing it as far as like putting it through something that's going to make like a toroidal,
right? Like a funnel
spin.
The magnets actually create the toroid. That's the coolest part about it.
Get out.
Yeah, they sell these kits all over the place. You can find them online real easy.
Okay.
Just put magnetic water in.
Get out of here.
And you,
that just sounds crazy now.
Doesn't it?
One magnet on one side, one magnet on the other, and it's got this little holder, and you just clamp it together around your pipes in your house. You can do this to anything.
No, even if they had proof positive, I wouldn't believe it. Listen, I can only stretch my mind.
I think, Jonathan, I rail against things like this sometimes too, but then I also think about how much we've been told was a lie, dude. Think about it. I mean, at this point, I'm convinced that stones are like frequency generators, or at least frequency amplifiers. That's why all the Antiquitech buildings were built that way. And what do we think stones are? Stones are fucking rocks in the yard. Get those out of the way. Move that so you can make flat grass in your yard. We're taught to treat rocks like dirt. Same thing with water. Water is just something you got to drink. Go bathe in it. Go put your poo in it. Go let fish fuck in it. But definitely it's not really important, or it can't do healing or shit. And especially you can't change it in any way that would make it better for you. Of course you can. Fucking A, you can. Sorry I got all ugly there, but I fully believe that everything is upside down at this point.
And it's another alchemical process. It really is. I mean, you're just transforming it through a force. You're running it through this certain thing that is in nature. We're just putting it into a nice little small contained area, and it's creating this vortex and transforming the water. Maybe this happens out in the ocean when you find these big giant whirlpools in places. Maybe that's what it's doing. I don't know.
Oh, we don't know, right? I mean, we really don't know what's going on out there. Like, and like Walt said, that we're messing up. Like, what if the landscape of the Earth with the rocks and boulders and everything being in certain places, or like the rocks that move across the desert, they show like a trail. I can't figure out.
Yes, I do, sir. I do.
Like, what if that's the universe, like you said, or the Earth itself? It's a living creature and it's moving them in place, from whatever, maybe using magnetism. To the same way you do feng shui, and sometimes you might have to take an iron rod and hammer it into the backyard, and it changes the whole energy of the house. I mean, this is a thing, and people say, "Oh, it's pseudoscience. That's crazy." No, it's not. It's alchemy. It's a lot of things. You're just ignorant of it. You guys bring up good points. I mean, you're not that bad after all. I should come on Ironworx just to sit and listen and shut up. Maybe I learned something.
What is it? A fuck fest? Oh,
well, you were talking about starting a new show and all that stuff. Actually, last Saturday,
thank you.
I started a new show with LC King. Every Saturday, we're gonna talk, forces of nature, electricity, and we'll throw some magnetism in there and stuff like that.
Damn it! Now Michelle's gonna get mad when I try to stay home on Saturdays and hang out with guys, because I love talking with Lucas. That was one of the best after shows he and I and Kimmy had in a long time. That was great. So yeah, I will definitely be able to figure out a way to change that so I can get in there.
Yeah, he comes at it from, this is all a natural realm, and all these things work together in a way to create, all these forces around us. And to me, my area of study is more what the forces do to stuff in here, but Lucas is really, on the chemical reactions and all this kind of stuff in nature. He's got it down, and he's got a system.
So in case everybody doesn't know, are you guys doing this on your channel, his channel? Y'all have started a new channel? What's the plan?
Yeah, it'll be on my channel. If he wants to, he can go live on his channel as well. It'd probably reach more people. But every Saturday around 4 p.m. Eastern, I don't know if that's too early for Lucas. We're going to talk during the week. We might move it a little bit later. I know he said he had to get up early to do it. But yeah, we're just going to hang out and, it really lit a fire under my ass to start going back over a bunch of old videos and wanting to share a lot of this stuff. We're going to keep it, a little bit of it'll be a refresher like every week. Like, hey, remember this happens. Remember this happens. Remember this is how this works. And then we'll go off into the things that we researched during the week. I was even thinking about researching. I'm going to try it today. Kelly, Hal Fuckery in chat was asking me about magnetic healing. And instead of trying to do a one-on-one through emails and stuff like that, I'm just going to get on the computer and go live and research it right there. Show people how I find the information and where I look and how I see when I see poppycock, I just get out of there and leave. Poppycock.
I wanted to go ahead. I'm going to say something.
Talking Electricity with LC King is the name of it. It'll be on every Saturday.
Sweet.
You should have gone with Zacchus. What were you going to say, Jonathan?
No, I was just going to mention before I forget, we're talking about magnetism and different things, and this thing with the water now. You got to give me the right terminology so I can look it up in Google, or if you have a good link to these things, I'd like to purchase one and play with it. But it kind of reminds me of not just Royal Raymond Rife with his healing machines, but like the idea of radionics. It's like a metaphysical science with a little device. It's also called electromagnetic therapy, or the Abrams method, I think it's called. And as a form of alternative medicine, I'm thinking to myself, okay, so just like we have a Schumann response to the Earth, and supposedly that frequency, differs, just like you have supposedly the introduction, and I say supposedly or allegedly, because you don't know, right? We don't know the true story of anything unless you were there at the moment of inception, what the true intention of it was. But then the universe always uses it for what it will. When they made music into 440 hertz instead of 432, right? And thereby, again, possibly arresting the human condition to evolve by altering our music. So perhaps these corrections, these things that we need, are things like this magnetic therapy. Like you said, it makes the plants grow twice as big. What could it then possibly have an effect on the body? Because when you think about it, even the plants we eat, what are plants? They're basically light, right? Through what's that process? Through the chlorophyll and all that stuff.
Photosynthesis.
And we're basically eating light at some point, right? It's just condensed into an organic matter, and then it goes into our body. So we already know we're frequencies. We already know on the atomic level. Again, according to science, we can't really see this because we don't walk around with microscopes attached to our eyes. But that 99% of matter isn't even there in an atom, 99.99%, and yet we look like physical matter. So, with spin charge and everything else and being what it is, the way, it makes sense that magnets or whatever it is would work on us.
This guy, Dom, saw such results in the plants that he thought, well, maybe I'll just drink some and see how it does to me. And he said the results were immediate and noticeable.
Different.
Yeah, you could. Right. Yeah, he said it was just a completely different type of water. He said he felt better. He felt more energized.
Right. And now he wears a funny helmet to block out frequencies from his head, and he calls himself Magneto. I get it, man. It just happens.
When you drink like anything like a Kool-Aid or a Tang or something like that, how it's kind of
a Bud Light, like a Bud Light.
Well, no, it's like thick and syrupy.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
There's all the particulates floating around in it, and it's it's denser. Well, this water is less dense than regular water. It feels less like it's smoother going down. It doesn't.
Well, that's what happens when you put borax in water. It softens it, and you literally feel it slip down your throat. But that's something different. That's a water softener.
Yeah.
But wait a minute. How do you
just the magnetic treatment of it?
But he's not using tap water, I hope, because there's so many particulates and shit in tap water.
Rainwater.
Oh, rainwater, really?
Yeah.
Did you ever see that documentary about rain, about water and how it has like information it carries, and like it even picks up our vibrations, so that when it goes back up to the clouds, and it goes back to surface albedo, whatever it's called, the ionization of it actually erases it just like a hard drive and brings the rain back down clear to pick up our vibrational patterns again, and this whole cycle repeats.
Don and Chet asked,
why won't Jonathan shut the fuck up? No. What did she ask?
How long do these last? How long do you have to replace the magnets frequently? Maybe can you use it and then? As long as the magnetic life is alive in those magnets,
Right. Did Don by chance suggest on Zach on the show? Because I haven't watched it all yet. Did he suggest a particular setup that he's got going? Did he get one?
He made his own.
I figured he did. So
$15. The first one.
Use those earth magnets.
Right now, just kind of glancing through magnetic water softeners, which is what they call them, and of course that's unscientific and unproven in all the little articles. But found this nuts thing that's apparently it's a totally left turn. Sorry, it's a 6-coil ring accelerator digital magnetic levitation cyclotron. It's a freaking, I'm going to send you guys the link. It's nuts.
Well,
I don't know what I'm actually looking for, and I'm finding crazy stuff like this. So we definitely need a little more guidance, sir, if you don't mind talking to Dom about what he would get if he was going to just purchase one and buy one.
Let me ask you guys this, and it's interesting that it's water, right, is the medium, right? He's not using any other medium because how could you? Like, water makes sense, right? And we're water. But basically, you know how like electrolysis used to require a lot of energy to break the bond of water and to get liquid oxygen, liquid hydrogen.
Mm-hmm.
And so they would always talk about how unfeasible it was from an energetic standpoint. It would cost more to put in that much energy to break that bond. So what if, right, you're talking about the covalent bond here, right? The chemical bond, the sharing of electron pairs between atoms.
It costs a lot of water to do that as well.
Right, exactly. But here's the thing. So what if he's onto something, right? But it needs to be taken to the next level from a scientific standpoint, more than just a passive system of being attached to. I've seen those things like on water pipes and stuff, the magnetic things, or even the way he has it set up. What if he's one or two steps away from, something that's revolutionary in the way water can be, again, broken apart?
I think it is. I think this is one of those things that's hidden from us and, needs to be out there.
He said the plants needed less water.
It's a very simple application.
But when you look at water itself, though, have you ever, considering that we're all water, like most of our body is water, and every living thing on the planet needs it, have you ever looked at how overly simplistic yet how complex water is, which is 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen, like the relationship of it all? Like it's like the perfect element.
See, I don't know about all the
molecules and yeah. It could be water's H2O.
According to Pete and Pete, that definitely isn't what's going on. Unfortunately, we never actually got to get into that conversation because we just bumped heads and personalities didn't work out. That's why we have our little pre-shows on Wednesdays sometimes, just to make sure everything will work out for a Friday. And in that case, it definitely didn't.
Let me just say this one thing, and I'll shut up. The thing is that hydrogen's the most abundant element in the whole universe, right? It's number 1 on the chart. And what I'm saying is you have this perfect relationship that doesn't want to break apart because oxygen, when it's just one singular oxygen molecule, wants to pair with anything. That's how you get your friggin' oxidation, right? That's why it's so, the way it works. But the fact that it holds this bond together with 2 hydrogen atoms, right? So you got H2O. And it's so perfect that it actually creates life. It sustains life. It does so much for our bodies, for healing and everything else. Like, who the hell would design something so simple? That's like taking the first 2 pieces out of a Lego box, like the 2-piece flat Lego and the 3-piece flat Lego, and then building your entire friggin' universe around it. When you really think about it, I mean, we're talking about the most basic chemical, I guess it's chemical, right? That would be a chemical water combination.
I mean, yeah, it's what we're told, but again, alchemically, is it that? Zach, you're more...
What are you getting at? What are you trying to say?
It's just, again, dude, if everything out there is the lie that we've been told, why wouldn't everything down there be the lie that would also
You're saying
be
it's not
told?
even, you're saying it's part of the illusion? It doesn't.
Has virology turned into be what we thought it was? Look around. Has anything else turned out to be what we were told it was? So at this point, even though I was a biology major and looked at things through microscopes, to actually see some of the shit they're talking about, I had to hand that off to a guy who then put it in his electron microscope. And to me, that's just like plugging in something to a telescope that's hooked up to a computer showing me pretty pictures on a screen.
Well, isn't water one of the most soluble liquids? It's like one of the greatest solvents. It breaks down everything.
I mean, yeah, clean water.
I think water is the most purest form of fission. Even though it isn't fission, fission is just one of the forces that, is holding and breaking apart this world along with the other 3. Your strong nuclear, your weak nuclear. But water is like, it's its own thing.
Yeah, but look at the quality
of the purest form of fission. It has everything in it.
You can do with water, though, based on the state that it's in, from ice to steam to, all these different states that it could be put into.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying.
Examples of frequency and vibrations. Water, steam, and ice. Exactly. I love that.
It's different than everything else. Water's the only thing that does this.
And then it's inside of us as well. So what does that say about what we can do, possibly? Oh, here's another one, too. You know how we use crystals like piezo crystals, like for making like little radios, right? I think there was a little kit that you saw at Radio Shack. Well, they used to sell this little radio kit. We can make your own radio with a little quartz crystal. It was like a little cardboard. You know what I'm talking about? It was back in the 70s and when we were kids, maybe even the 50s.
Well, you can still buy them.
Oh, you can still get those things?
Little kits to make your own piezoelectric radio? Sure.
Yeah, but they were cheap, right? They had them at Radio Shack. I remember it was like a little thing. Dad's on home.
Still, though, they're down the certain aisle at one of the little hobby stores. You can pick it up.
Okay, well, here's what I'm getting at. What if, because you know how water is such a great medium for transporting sound underwater, right? And then dolphins, they use that, what do you call that when they use that radar? It's built into their heads automatically. Something.
Echolocation?
Echolocation, right? And
yeah,
it's so, what is it?
Just like bats.
Like bats, but I'm saying for dolphins, according, you've seen that movie Lucy when Morgan Freeman's talking to for the symposium at the college, and he says that this echolocation is so refined, right? It's so built into them that it's better than anything we have on Navy subs with our technology. And what I'm getting at is, what if the next step from quartz What if there's certain properties in water where that becomes the medium? Oh, this is why I'm saying this. Ready for this? I can't find the article. If any of you guys, because I know everybody on the internet has like mad powers for digging shit up. That's why like I can't wait till I dread the day when people are going to find those tapes I made, and let's not talk about that, but it's out there.
5-minute mark, by the way, before we hit our last segment.
Yeah. What I read on this article was this. It was really interesting. These scientists took a body of water, let's say a cup of water, and they separated the water into different containers, right? And then they did some kind of thing where they vibrated the water at a certain frequency in one cup, and this other cup was like remotely removed, literally like 1,000 feet or maybe even a mile away. And at that exact moment, the frequency, it was almost like 100th monkey theory, the frequency that was being generated in the one part in the lab was starting to do the same exact thing in this other location on this other water. It's like it was like the same body. It was like it was holding the same charge, same memory, same something, some kind of communication. And then it got me to thinking, if our bodies are water and we have, again, supposedly the pineal gland is like a crystal and it connects us to the Godhead and all this other shit. What if there's something inside us, what we call intuitive powers or intuition or whatever we have in our gut feeling and whatever is part of this water component that makes us all connected, like the waters of the earth, or I don't know. There's something to it. But what if that's our next form of communication? What if that whole thing with the Stargate in the movie, the shows like Stargate,
right?
When that thing opens up and it's a water portal.
Yeah.
What if water is the way to go to other dimensions or across space and time? Like we don't know the powers of water
We're
yet.
Like Constantine.
Really in water constantly. I mean, the air around us is water. That's what it fucking
Well, it's
is.
an atmosphere, right?
It's
an
just a
atmosphere.
different density of water, right?
I truly believe that. I believe space, when they're floating up there, is really just a density of water, just like that commercial that Mark would cite where the guy goes up in a hot air balloon and goes crashing through the water. I don't know, was that a Heineken commercial or one of those alcohol companies?
Yeah, Hennessy, I think.
Hennessy, yeah. I was going to say Drambuie. Yeah, no, it's like it makes an interesting concept. Like, what if these guys that are training in these astronaut suits, and like that one astronaut had a leak, right? Supposedly, and there was water. What if they're not on a blue screen thing underneath some tank in Texas or somewhere, but actually out in space, because it is space up there, just low-level space, but it's a density of water, and that's the firmament, right? It separates the waters from the heavens and the earth.
Jonathan,
what if this? Go ahead.
How familiar are you with our back catalog of shows? Probably not very, because it was an old one.
I don't listen to this goddamn show. I got a life to live.
You were talking about the Illuminati coming to us to...
I'm teasing.
You mentioned earlier about Illuminati coming to us to grant us secrets to share with the world.
Yes.
Early on, what was this, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, maybe at this point?
Yeah.
At least.
We had a guy who said he was from the protective force of Antarctica, one of the heads, that there were 13 of the top brass heads that had come together and decided that they need to get the information out.
Like a consortium.
And that they were going to slowly release it and then grant people access.
I promise you I am not one of the 13. I know those guys. I don't roll with them. I am like an army of one. That's actually, the Army stole my fucking tagline. I was ready to promote myself. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, he was going to offer us rides. Well, he was soliciting funds, trying to get us to buy tickets on a boat to take us to the edge.
You know what, bro? He was going to spike your water and send you down a tunnel like fucking Willy Wonka and make you think you went on a journey. Go ahead.
Well, there was a lot of things.
Sounds like fun, though.
I mean, it was a pretty compelling story. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite enough to convince us that he was who he said he was.
Yeah. But it took some of the team on quite a ride.
Now listen, take this bag and just inhale deeply. Just huff it. And I swear, we'll be in Antarctica before you know it.
What does this rag smell like to you?
Into a meat freezer at his friend's restaurant. What?
So what does this rag smell like to you?
All of a sudden you got a black cloth over your head and you hear Spanish language and you're like, what the fuck, where am I? You're in the back of a van down in Chile.
What is this zany Telemundo radio show I'm listening to?
No, but whatever happened to this guy? Did he ever get in touch with you guys again?
No. You can still find a little bit of information.
He was to the point where he was contacting team members individually and really like...
What, in TFR?
No, on the IRM team.
Oh, okay.
This is before we were on TFR.
Into each of our personality profiles. He was like promising all these amazing things. The person
no offense.
Killed, the person who is looking for the electromagnetic shit. Oh, it's there. Everything we wanted was going to be there.
Yeah, but no offense.
He was offering us the free ride. We wouldn't have to pay the $1 million everybody else was going to pay.
Eventually, he offered us the free ride. Yeah.
I just want to let you guys know, don't take this the wrong way, but that's like getting a bunch of rejects like the fucking Dirty Dozen to go do your dirty work. I mean,
Absolutely.
going to
Damn right. Did you ever see the Dirty Dozen?
I mean, that's like, no, what was it? Let's basically use Zach and Josh, right? So it's like going to the Twisted 3 to...
All right, it's break time. We're going to get the hell out of here in half an hour.
Come on, guys.
Yeah,
no, it's all
right. Gotta pay those bills. Shut Jonathan up a minute.
I want to hear more about this after the break, please. I want to know about this.
You betcha.
All right.
Here's a message of importance to millions of people who are continually pale and washed out, weak and run down. Doctors will tell you that these conditions are often caused by a deficiency of iron. The iron you need to keep you physically fit and mentally alert. Medical studies show that 2 out of 3 women and many, many men lack the daily iron your body requires in a form your body can easily use and put to work. Every dose gives you more than your daily minimum iron requirement.
We are awake, we are the way, we are not alone. We are striving for more.
So if you're not getting the iron your body needs, run down and are easily upset, start taking iron today.
Your day off bright and shiny. Get up off your little hiney and begin your happy day.
And welcome back to the Ironworks for the 4th and final segment of our fabulous Tuesday show. That's right. Rest assured, it is Tuesday. I think I've managed to get today's day right thus far. We'll see what Friday has to bring. Anyway, we're just hanging out talking to Jonathan from Jersey, who is actually not in Jersey, but in Florida. But doesn't roll off the tongue the same.
Jonathan from Jersey.
True.
Yeah.
Not Jonathan in Jersey.
By the way, I want to give a shout out to Alan from the chat room. He disappeared, but he put out something. He said, "Tell Jonathan to check out this company called Cerule, Cerule, and a product called Stem Enhance Ultra Ultimate Stem Cell Support." And I have to tell you, because he mentioned my ankylosing spondylitis, and guess what I just read, guys?
What did you just read?
It said, somebody posed a question on Google, can stem cells cure this condition? It says they can heal virtually any type of tissue, stem cell, right? Research like this, even transforming themselves into different types of tissue to speed up healing. A great deal of research into stem cell therapy to treat ankylosing spondylitis has been done, with several successful medical trials on human patients being performed. So, I was thinking about this. When you start to have like a spinal fusing or anything like that, when the bone starts to, calcify and all this other process happens, it's kind of like you can't pull it apart, right? What happens at birth in our development is one thing, and it sets the pattern. But like when we lose teeth, we don't regrow new ones after our baby teeth and so on. So there's certain things where the body, the mechanism just turns off or can't reverse it. But with stem cells, and I think they were trying this too, they were even coming up with a gel where they can, like, let's say they pull out a bad tooth, and while the tissue is still active in there, the pulp and everything that's in there, they can actually fill it back in, or do the root canal and fill it in with stem cells, and literally the body will know that whatever marker's there to say, oh, this is where a tooth belongs, it fills it back in. It's almost like you're turning back on that switch, like when they do genetic, stuff, like sharks, right? They lose teeth and regrow them right back indefinitely. So imagine one day where you're missing an arm, right? God forbid you lose it in whatever situation, and the body just knows, almost like the movie The Fifth Element, when they regrew the whole Lilu out of one little piece of DNA material on the hand that they salvaged.
Right.
So what if they figure out some way of doing that one day, and they can regrow any body part because the body already knows what the map is of where things should be? Don't you think it's interesting? Check this out. Don't you think it's interesting that when the human body's designed, right, it starts with these two little atoms? And I'll tell you what, I mentioned that movie Lucy earlier with Morgan Freeman and Scarlett Johansson.
Mm-hmm.
And when you really watch the scientific scene where he's explaining how human life is created, whoever put that together was just incredible. I think it was a Luc Besson movie who did The Fifth Element. All right, so I love that guy as a director, regardless of his personal taste in women, young girls. But anyway, no, but it was a really powerful, impactful scene because Morgan Freeman shows under a microscope how the first cells form and what they develop into, right? All the creatures of the world. But here's the thing. You never see anybody born with an elbow with a knee where the elbow should be, or where a foot should be on the end of their hand. So like there's never been a case where people have literally
not without formaldehyde being involved.
What's that? Not without what?
Without formaldehyde being
thalidomide.
Oh, you mean thalidomide?
Sorry, I'm
arms.
Yeah, I got
formaldehyde.
Yeah, sorry.
God, that would be devastating.
My brain would be even worse.
No, trust me. I mean, if I can meet a girl with 2 feet for hands, like, oh my God, I could have like sex in all different ways that were beyond my wildest dreams of foot fetish.
See, 4 feet. Can you imagine? You'd have to marry her.
It'd be like having 2 girls giving you an FJ at the same time. It'd be awesome. But anyway, the point is, oh, big shout out to Iris Vega over at chatterbait.com because I replaced my Google button with Chatterbait, and she has the sexiest feet I've ever seen. Anyway, getting back to news, what I was going to say is, like, that's the perfect sound. Can we rewind and erase, or is it too late? It went out live.
Oh no, it's out there, friend.
It's on the blooper reel. It's forever.
Yeah, there's no bringing that back, sir.
Oh, trust me. Jonathan from Jersey may sound like he slips, but man, is he intentional.
Oh, you think we don't know, friend? You think we don't know?
You think I'm a little cryptic yet?
I'm just glad you saw the post from Alan, because I
did. I want to thank him. Alan, right? Alan.
I had it highlighted to tell you about it, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to give that company advertising.
No, Spirit said to me, actually, go into the chat room, and I did during break.
Awesome. Nice.
Yeah. So thank you, Alan.
Awesome, Alan. You rock, brother. Love you.
And by the way, that's why you're the executive line producer of the Ironworx.
I got to ask you guys a question. We didn't know each other before I called you. Was it last year? Beginning of last year, when I was starting to come out of my shell? It was February of 2019 when I first called into your show, right?
I think it's been like 2 years now.
Been a little longer than that.
Yeah, February 2019. I remember.
No, because I was in Oregon.
But dude, I hadn't come out of hiding.
Maybe.
I was still a recluse. I didn't have social media, phone number, nothing.
Yeah, maybe so. The whole of 19 and the whole of 20.
Yeah. So what I'm asking is,
a whole fucking lot longer.
We didn't have a relationship. Yeah, it feels like too long. But we didn't have any kind of relationship. We'd never talked prior to that. I was only on Mark's show prior to that and my own program. But, you used to say, like, I go way out on a tangent sometimes to bring my points in, right? I'm a little cryptic or out there with some of my information. But knowing me now, you can see, like, I do deliberately do things on the fly. I do accidental slip-ups and double entendres and everything else. Like, I have a plan, right? And I'm not part of the consortium of 13.
Oh, speaking of that consortium of 13, yeah, it was just basically John Brahma was saying that the firmament is another state of water. Wasn't that right, Walt? Almost like a crystalline form. Yeah. Not ice, but
ice. Sky ice.
Something.
Well, yeah. If you think about it, the temperatures up there, if they are some are claiming they're getting colder and colder. Yeah, it's going to liquefy and then it's going to solidify eventually. Well, whether it's the actual water or any type of gas, hydrogen will freeze at negative 273 degrees. It will turn into a solid that's 0 degrees Kelvin. And if it gets that cold up there, then yeah, we have solid above us.
It makes sense. It makes perfect sense.
So
it's an ice ceiling. It's an ice ceiling.
We need to find that show from John Brahma. Remember, he gave us some pictures that he claimed that were from the edge that someone had taken.
I'm actually looking for that picture right now.
Wait, is that the guy you're talking about? The guy who came on and said he was who he was?
Yeah.
Yeah. John Brahma.
John Brahma.
Brahma.
Yeah, that's his code name.
So where the hell is he now?
Don't know. He disappeared.
Last September, he was the gateway to the edge was supposed to appear because it only happens every once in a while. And
are you ready? Let me just put this out there real quick, Josh. I don't mean to cut you off. Jonathan or John, if you're listening, this is Jonathan from Jersey. All I'm gonna say, brother, is bring it. Okay, here I am. I'm an easy target. Right? You know where to find me. If not, tell Josh or Walt you want to get in touch with me, or Zach. There it is. I laid down the gauntlet. Threw down the gauntlet. Yeah. Huh?
The gauntlet has been laid.
Next thing I know, these two guys show up and fucking black bag me. And it's like, hey, you wanted to talk? Here we are. You want some Mexican taco? You know, want some tacos or some shit? You know, wanted some chili. The black bag over my head.
Well, it's just that there was a photographer, I guess, this lady photographer that had gone down to Antarctica with some relation to the Rothschilds, as I recall, and was snapping pictures. And I guess it was one of these pictures that he had sent us that said this was the picture of the firmament from the edge and all this other thing. I don't know. There's that link that you gave us last week, Jonathan, that just got me thinking about it even last week when you dropped it. Sarah Michael Designs.
Sarah Michael Designs.
Wasn't that the one you dropped that? It had all the...
Sarah Michelle.
Michelle? Yeah, I guess that is Michelle,
which one was that? Which one was that?
All the Antarctic pictures and stuff that she had sent.
Oh, that. Yeah, absolutely. Dude, I'm so sorry. I've been so busy.
No,
Go ahead.
Well, it just made me think because it was just someone else that had gone to the... And I was just wondering if there was any connection. Is basically where my mind went. We had some...
You know what I always picture, by the way, when you guys talk about the firmament or going to the edge of Antarctic? I don't know why this picture... Look, there's a reason why it keeps coming up in my head, right? The universe is trying to say, look at this, look at this, look at this, right? Do you feel the same way? Do you feel like sometimes there's a persistent thought because the universe is trying to get you to see something there, a pattern?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
ready? See if you agree with me on this. Every time I think of the firmament, because we don't know what it's actually made of, some people think it's glass or it looks like a glass-type substance, right? Or maybe a two-way mirror reflecting back on us, maybe water, whatever it is. I keep picturing here. What's at the center of the map? What's the most fabulous thing in the universe? Where is that located? The most fabulous thing in the universe. What movie is that from?
Time Bandits.
Time Bandits. What happened when they got to the right? It looks like it's in the center of the map, but what happened when they got to the most fabulous thing in the universe? When they actually came upon it? They were on a beach. They'd just fallen off the Titanic. They got in the water. The big giant came out with the ship, and then they found themselves on land. And the guy picks up a skull and he throws it. And what happens when the dude ducks?
The wall shatters.
He breaks the fucking glass. Right? Now they're in the center of the universe or the edge of wherever. To go inside is to go out. To go outside is to go in. And I'm wondering, what if that's what it is? What if you get to that wall, almost like, and again, Mark brought it up in a different way. He talked about the 13th floor, and he talked about the signal. These were good analogies for this.
Well, Enoch even talked about this, the place beyond the edge where...
Oh, when he stuck his head through that
eternal darkness,
Is that famous drawing where the guy's sticking his head through and he sees all the stars?
It might come from the book of Enoch, yeah, but he saw all the mechanics of the outside of it and how it works. But
I gotta share this one.
There was a place where they put the 7 stars, the 7 stars that didn't follow their path and were exiled to the place of eternal darkness.
Oh, I never heard
of
that.
That mirror, the mirror is blocking the light. And once he broke that mirror, you looked through and there was no light. It was all... there was ground in the castle and all that, but it was black. It was nighttime. There was no light. They were on the other side, and it was daylight. But outside of it, just on the other side of that wall, is darkness.
Let me share this one thing with you because I forgot about this until you mentioned it. A long time ago, have you guys ever done not regressive therapy, guided imagery sessions with music? They basically play music the same way Native Americans use a drum to induce certain states when you go into lower world. Okay, like when you do journey work. So this person was doing a therapy session with me with music, and she was asking me questions, and then my mind kind of took over on the journey. It was basically like going on a trip without any drugs. I was just simply going into the journey, and all of a sudden my body starts accelerating from the planet Earth out towards what I thought was space, right into the darkness. And the further and further I got away, every light, every star and everything became a pinpoint of light behind me. And I was accelerating so fast. She says, can you go even further, faster, so we can get to the final conclusion? I passed this Native American Indian chief. He was coming up on me almost like when you're passing somebody coming up on the right. And I look at him and I wave, and he raises his, whatever that little stick that he makes with the rain dance, the noise. And he looks at me and he had a smile on his face, kind of like, hey man, this white boy is going pretty fast. Kind of like, that's the kind of impression I got. Eventually, I hit this wall in the universe. And again, it could have been just the wall of my mind, the limitations of what my mind couldn't conceive. But when I got to the edge of it, she said to me, can you go through it? I was like, huh, like, what do you mean? She's like, see if you can pierce it somehow. And I put my hands in front of me, and I'll tell you what the material was like. Like, it was almost like a thick Jello. Imagine if you made black Jello in your refrigerator. You used food coloring for Halloween, and you made black Jello, okay? And there was no light, and I just kind of put my hands through, and the Jello kind of separated. All right, I'm pulling it apart. And on the other side of this Jello, I could see like pink, almost like cotton candy pink clouds and like a bright universe, but picture wispy cotton candy type clouds of pink and different colors. I stick my head through and I let it go, and it was almost like a turtleneck sweater now. It's around my head. It's almost like a self-sealing, those run flat tires, when you pull the nail out, it self-seals. It's around my head now. My head's just sticking out of our universe here, right? And what I saw were these other black orbs floating, and each one was kind of like a marble that had like maybe 50% opacity. You could see into the marble of these other self-contained universes. And what was happening was the light was expanding inside these other universes, just like some people say that we're expanding our light. We're growing, right? This universe is about growing light. And what was happening, they showed me one that was ready to pop. Right, I could see these all over the place. I could look around and you could feel the distance to them and everything. And when they reach full saturation of light, and light was shown to me as knowledge, as wisdom, as enlightenment, they would just burst and then be reabsorbed up into this pink material. Now, here's the cool part. You know those things, the enforcers from Tron? Do you remember the enforcers, those big... Am I still on air?
Nope. I cut you off. You were done.
Oh, thanks, man. No, yeah, the things that they would turn around and their legs would come together to kind of block things, like the big enforcers, like in the video.
Yeah, like almost an M-shaped thing.
Yes, you're right. And then they could turn on those laser things in between them to go on the grid. Okay. So there were these big things that look almost like a combination between that and, you know, the Kabbalah Tree of Life symbol with the circles and the cross grid that they study in the Kabbalah?
Yeah, the Sephiroth.
Sephiroth, thank you. I couldn't think of the word. It looked like a combination of those two things in that these were moving entities. They weren't enforcers, but these configurations of these Sephiroths were what was, I guess, like same way you'd have nurses in a baby nursery. They were kind of like the harvesters, or kind of the things that would watch over these little black orbs getting ready to burst to then bring them back. It was the craziest thing I've ever, and I didn't anticipate any of this. I didn't project any of this. I wasn't like trying to have this experience. And then it was about a year after that I saw that famous picture where the guy, he's on his knees, and I think he's, you know, like he looks like a shepherd dude with a staff.
The Flammarion.
He's looking, what is it?
The Flammarion.
Is that what that's called, that picture?
That's what it's called.
The engraving.
Hold on a second. The Flammarion, how do you spell that?
Flemarion, I believe. Or IAN, I'm not sure.
I'll just spell it wrong and let Google correct me. I have the Flamborean, the Flammarion engraving. I think you guys are right. Flammarion. That's the one, okay. So the traveler puts down and he sticks his edge. Here's how they write it, ready? A traveler puts his head under the edge of the firmament in the original 1888 printing of the Flammarion wood engraving. Dude, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Now, if you look at the picture, instead of seeing the things that I just described, the Sephiroth, what does he see? He sees the wheel that supposedly, who was that guy who saw the wheel in the Bible? Ezekiel's wheel. And that's what I'm saying. I saw these things that were like, of a godly, all I can say is of a godly nature. These weren't even creatures. These were, I don't know, man. I don't know what the frick I saw, but I know it was beyond the sun, the stars, and the moon of our known universe. It was just like,
isn't it interesting how there's so much that people see in these altered states that harkens back to mechanics, the gnome machines, what you saw, the Flammarion image with the gears and wheels. There's always this mechanical.
Well, let me ask you this.
We were looking into for a few months, like way back. I think it was that. Maybe it was I don't know. It was that weird stuff where there were the grids over us that were all connected, and that's how the dome worked. I don't know. I can't remember the name of the channel now.
Let me ask you this though. Say the four of us went to a rock concert, right? And we all got a backstage pass. You got me? But say it was one of these outdoor concerts, like at a Woodstock type event, And now you're like, let's say 100 or 200 feet behind the stage where the main action's going, right? So the front of the stage is all decorative and it has the speakers and the banners and shit. But if you went behind stage about a good 200, 300 feet from it, what would you see if you turned around and looked at it? You'd see the mechanics, right? You'd see the framework, you'd see the wiring, you'd see, the road crew, you'd see the electrical boxes that power it all. And it would look nothing like the front. You see what I'm saying? So when you talk about
back, making it all work.
That's what I'm saying. And when like Walt brings up a good point, anybody who goes into an altered state, whether it's ayahuasca or whatever, there seems to be a lot of shared information of not, oh, I met this person or I met this creature or I met God. No, I saw the structure. I saw the geometry. I saw these other things. And it's like, holy shit.
Well, I think but Time Bandits.
Yeah.
People see all these gnomes. I forget the name of it. It's a guy's John Bonet syndrome or something like that.
John Benet Ramsey syndrome?
No.
I'm just kidding.
Are you talking about that macular degeneration thing where people see the gnomes?
Yeah, and it's all over the world. They've never spoken
forgetting to ask my buddy who has the macular degeneration about that. He called me not too many days ago, and I never.
Wait. You're saying people that get macular degeneration start to see these things?
It's a very specific type or a very specific condition, but yeah. They know they're not there. It's not like they think.
Know each other,
yeah.
This is all over the world.
Like the garden gnomes, like little dudes.
Yeah, they see the little guys with beards and the little hats on, walking around just doing stuff.
It's like they know they're not there. They're not hallucinating.
Our world, basically, right?
It's not a.
Well, wait, it makes sense. If you have macular degeneration, doesn't it affect your peripheral vision first?
It doesn't. That's how you can see is actually through your peripheral. That's all you can see.
Okay, wait a minute. Wait.
So does it actually affect your peripheral vision, or does it alter, make it better?
Well, no, wait, guys, you guys just tripped upon something. Wait a minute. I'm a photographer, and like I said, I was talking about light hitting us directly straight ahead, and that's where the illusion happens, right? Optical illusions, like the pencil in the half water of glass. But when people say they caught something, where do they always catch it?
Out of the corner of their eye.
Yeah, baby. That's where
that's where you see all the spooky stuff, right? That's where you see the ghosts and all the other shit. So if we're attuned, if those areas are normally grayed out and blurred, and that's why when you use vignetting on photography, it makes people really pop out the middle. Like when you do a portrait, you put some darkening or vignetting. It's similar to our eyes blocking out the side on our peripheral vision. But if your center vision is blocked, all of a sudden you would be attuned to what's on the peripheral.
Your brain has to compensate.
Right. Holy shit. That's fucked. Oh, you guys are spooking me out now. I mean, I got enough on my plate, bro.
You might have to start listening to this fucking show.
I didn't think you guys were this aware. I mean, I thought you were just kind of like a fly-by-night, kind of like, hey, man, we're just going to wing it.
We're going to fake it till you make it.
Sauces.
Listen. With all due respect, I kid about you guys a lot. I kid with you guys. I told you why I come on this fucking show.
Yep. Because it's early and you can't sleep.
Fuck you. No, I said if I was going to reveal anything, and I promised you this many times, this would be the place where I would reveal it because you guys get it, and I highly respect the three of you and your listeners. Look, you're not here just to like kiss somebody's ass named Mark Sargent, or no, I'm just kidding. Who? Exactly. No, I listen. I miss Mark. I'll be honest with you. We used to have really good long talks, man. We were good buddies at one time.
No, I do like Mark Sargent. Check out Strange World there on Truth Frequency Radio on the Sunday evenings.
Yeah, no, he's really. I commend him for being as dedicated.
Shout out to Karen B.
Thank you. Yes, shout out to Karen B in chat.
Absolutely to Karen B. But honestly, you three guys, like I said, you operate at a whole different level. I get your level, and you have a deeper shamanic path, let's say, than some of the other members of the community. You guys are true shamans, but you do it through the means that you do it through.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Really and truly, I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Well, we are coming up on the end of the show here.
60 seconds.
Yep. Sir, we are there. Thank you, Jonathan.
So if you feel like doing some magnetic healing research with me, about a half hour.
Who, me?
Well, I'm just telling the people in chat. I'm going to go live in about a half hour and just look into some of this magnetic healing where you can find because they have special stuff that's made for this. And, just look at it, see how people apply it and whatnot, and where people can go to get information. I'm just going to show people how I research, kind of. And then they can ask questions and whatnot, So that'll be happening in about a half hour, folks.
About a half over on Good Times for All, GUDTIMS, the number 4, ALL. Well, this has been an exciting show. of the Ironworks. And I do believe we have a show planned for Friday. We're going to talk about it a bit on Wednesday, but I think I've got a guest lined up that is going to be one that has been unique to Iron Roll Media. I think it's going to be a really, really good show. I'm excited. Anyway, we'll see you guys right back here on Friday evening or Friday morning, depending on where it is you're going to be tuning in. Josh, Walt, and Zach hanging out with Jonathan from Jersey. Another exciting episode of the Ironworks on Truth Frequency Radio. Be good. Be well. Bye-bye.